It's a 2-year process that we're currently working on to create a new municipal plan. And over that time, we'll be coming out and talking to citizens across the municipality, and we'll be presenting their opinions and their ideas and their vision for the municipality. The recommendations and the ideas and the vision that come out of the public engagement will be considered by these groups, and over the next 2 years we're working to create distinctive goals and objectives for different communities across the municipality, and then we'll be making sure that we have the right rules and regulations in place to make these visions happen. So by 2016 we hope to have the full municipal plan out, and again we'll come back to the community and make sure we got things right and heard them properly and have the correct vision in place for the municipality. One of the first things that we're going to be doing in this process is looking at what communities want to see in the future. What is their vision for community? So some communities have started doing this process. On the Aspetuagan Peninsula, they've been talking about how their communities should grow and change. And in New Ross, for instance, they've been doing economic development planning, and it's looked at a broad number of things like what type of businesses do we want to encourage, where should these businesses be located, and what type of heritage structure should we incorporate into our planning, and how do we use the New Ross Museum. So we want to do these kind of things across the entire municipality and get a vision of what your community should look like. And maybe it's different things in different communities. In Chester Village, there's a heavy focus on heritage. In Western Shore, we heard that the coastline and parks are very important, as well as affordable housing. So if you have ideas for your community, we want to hear them so we can incorporate them into the long-term plan. One area that we're going to be reviewing a fair bit through this municipal planning process is the natural environment. We know that climate change is becoming an ever-increasing issue, especially in coastal areas. One of the biggest impacts that we're going to see is rising sea levels. So the municipality has an obligation to understand how much those sea levels might rise, what properties they might affect, and using that we can look at things like, should we build in certain areas? If people are building in certain areas, should they have certain requirements to make sure that their houses are high enough to be protected? And also we can look at things like, is there erosion happening, and what might we be able to do about that? So definitely with climate change, that's going to be a very big issue, sea level rise. For areas that aren't on the coast, another thing we have to worry about with climate change is changing extreme weather patterns. So it's predicted that we'll see more storms bringing more rain and snow. So when you have a lot of heavy precipitation, heavy rain, you can be especially prone to flooding and stormwater washouts and erosion. And we already see some of that, in big storms throughout the municipality, but we're predicted to see a lot more. So trying to understand how we can prepare our infrastructure and our communities for that is very important. Housing is another big issue that we want to talk about, ensuring that there's appropriate housing and that there's affordable housing and that the right types of housing are encouraged in the right locations across the municipality. When we talk about housing, one thing that we consistently hear from people is that we have to worry about having affordable housing. And we also need to worry about housing for seniors. So as people are aging, people are looking for smaller houses. They're looking for houses that may be a little close to amenities, and they generally want to have a house that's accessible. So all of these things may not be appropriately dealt with in our current bylaws, which looked at housing from a different perspective, often 10 or 15 years out of date. We also hear about making sure that houses for everybody fit into their community. So are they the right size? Are they the right design? And are they put in the right locations? So you kind of have two big issues with housing, affordability and availability. And in a broader sense, do we have housing that fits in our community? Zoning is a tool that can be used across the municipality, and it could be used to protect people's housing from inappropriate uses. That's one way to do it. So, for example, if you have industrial uses or transportation uses, you may zone them out of residential areas. Now, one of the downsides to that is when you zone things, you do control people's land and limit what they can do. So zoning is a trade-off between control and protection of different areas of the municipality. There are several different ways to provide your input to the municipal plan process. You can call municipal planning staff at 275-2599 and ask to talk about the municipal plan review. Also, you can get in touch with your councillors, or you could get in touch with your Citizens Planning Advisory Committee representative, and that information is available on our website as well.